Hey, what's up? It's Kit time for another video today. What we're gonna do is have a closer look at the engineering behind Studio Ocean Mark L80. Okay, now this is not a normal L80. This is a UAE Limited. So there are some parts that are kind of different, but overall, the engineering is kind of the same. Just the parts are kind of different. Okay, now this is kind of different for normal L80. Okay, so emblem here. Okay, there's branding here. The shaft is actually thicker, so this is extra reinforced. The handle, which is oversized, as you can see here, is made of resin impregnated wood, lathed and then installed there. So this is kind of not ordinary wood. Okay, so there's the cells inside of the wood, which is porous, are filled with resin, so it's not gonna rot, even if it gets wet, soaked, or whatever. It's wood, so it's not gonna get damaged as easily, and rightfully so, because this sort of reel is for heavy use, and you're looking at big tuna and other big fish like reef donkeys, big amberjacks and whatnot. Okay, so that, and then the internals. There are some differences in the internals, but you know, I had something to do with this reel, and instead of actually giving it some color and all that, I've decided to just keep it silver and spend all the, let's say, the design credits, as opposed to spending it a lot on color. The design credits were actually spent on the internals of this reel. But I'm going to show you exactly what these upgrades. Okay, the notable differences, I'd say, that you won't really find anywhere would be that logo, the symbol, and the flag. Okay, the flag for the final version, it was moved on top here. Now, this is a prototype, so there are things here that kind of will be inconsistent. Like, take for example, the spool color might not be black; it might be silver. Okay, but that's it. Okay, so there are other differences that are the inside, but the engineering is actually kind of the same. Now, if you have an L80 and you have access to ordering from Japan, there is a shot for you to actually order some of the parts. It could be. I'm not saying that you could, but maybe you could. I'm not too sure if the parts are actually sold individually, but definitely upgraded some of these parts. Now, as with all Studio Ocean Mark reels, all you need to crack the reel open is a flathead screwdriver. Now, this particular one, okay, uh, it started out thicker and wider. And the reason why I'm showing you this as opposed to the one that's store bought and kind of the one that I carry around, is the fact that this was really cheap. So I saw this, it was a set of two, this and a Phillips head, and I figured that this is something that's available worldwide, as opposed to actually just taking your reel and then measuring and all this. For very, very cheap, you can find a screwdriver and make it fit. So this was a bit thicker, the head was a bit wider. What I've done is to run it through a belt sander, and what I have now is a screwdriver that fits perfectly. As you can see there, there's no wobble. Okay, so I'm trying to shake that, but no, it's not going anywhere. So very, very important when you have these reels and you don't want the screws to be damaged. Okay, and this is why I'm taking this time to actually talk about this, because these reels are not cheap. There is beauty in simplicity, and that's exactly what you're gonna see in the inside of this reel. Now, all of these reels, all Studio Ocean Mark reels, are made to be field stripped. This is why it's important to have one of these. Okay, now for an L80 you have 4 screws, L80 and the L100. L100 is basically an L80 but wider. Okay, so now notice that I didn't put it on free spool, okay, because it's covered when you put it on free spool. So turn it onto minimum, put it on minimum, and then unscrew, and then put it on free. Last one. Here we go. Okay, there we go. And okay, there we go. Studio Ocean Mark spool belt. That is one really smart, really smart piece of technology. Okay, so 4 screws for the L80, L50, and L30. Three screws. Okay, so set that aside, and then I'm gonna show you this. This is standard across the board. Okay, this is literally your left hand side plate. Now as you can see here, okay, that is hollowed out. Now just take this off. I'm not supposed to, but I just want to do it so that I can show you guys how it looks like. Okay. Okay. So you can see that excess material has been taken off, and this is extra weight savings. This is actually quite standard for all Studio Ocean Mark reels. Now also here you can see the ridge. Okay, that's again extra weight savings. All of this extra weight savings. This is solid. Okay, but every single place where they could actually take to save space or to save weight, they did. Okay, so here on the same here. All right, now let us put this back, this outside. Okay, there we go. Okay, so sturdy, good as new. All right, so now I know a lot of people are going to ask me this, so I'm gonna weigh it just for your reference. That is 107 grams, just this. Okay, quite a big chunk of aluminum, but in the hands actually feels really light. Now the spool. Okay, and I don't know if you've noticed, but when you take off the reel, the spool comes with it. So once you have that, if you have an extra spool, you just pop it in just like that. So in the inside you will see a main gear. Okay, main gear and the pinion. That is it. That is it. Okay, and then from there there's going to be the assembly for the cam, and I don't want to go there. It's kind of difficult and kind of iffy to take apart, but as you can see there, the screws don't fall, they stay. Okay, so take the spool, put it on, put a spare spool, you know, change spools, take the line off, put a new spool, you know, some that sort of thing. Now ordinary all L80s except for you know, the even Z Japans and the OGMs will have a cover like this, and there are only 2 reels that have a heat sink cover. and this is for the no limits Hokkaido special and the UAE limited reel. Okay, so they share the same parts. Now if you take this off and hand tighten, so that's different. This is normal, this is not. Okay, now I'm gonna use this because it's gonna get dirty. So this cover absorbs the heat and then dissipates it because of this. So when the reel spins, what happens is that the heat gets dissipated. Okay. Right. Now, normally, this, again, I said this was a prototype, right? So normally this particular one right here should have been stainless steel. Okay? And this should have been carbon. Again, this is a prototype reel, so it's not the final one. Now, for the final UAE version, this is stainless steel. And this is carbon, so it has a lot of stopping power. This is like the normal one, okay, the G40 cork. So actually for this particular one, I didn't like the what's this, the carbon. That's why I have cork here. So I actually I had it and then I switched it, and those parts are in Wael's reel. So basically, what I like, the advantage of this is that when you're using lighter leaders, it's not gonna pop when there's damage. Okay, and this is why I like cork more than carbon. Carbon gives you instantaneous drag, whereas this one, it ramps up. Cork will ramp up a little bit, giving you a cushioning effect. But at the end, both drag materials will actually reach the top of the curve and give you the resistance, the same resistance. Okay, so like take for example, if your drag is set to 12 kilos, example, both carbon and cork will reach 12 kg. The difference is carbon immediately spikes up to 12 kilos the moment the fish runs, whereas with cork, it will gradually work its way to 12 kilos. So over time, the drag goes up. And that's very important, especially when you're dealing with thinner line or lighter leaders. So I like the idea of having the reel dissipate heat, you know, more stable drag. So I like the cover. I took the cover from another prototype and then put it here. So there we go. The spool, normally it's a silver spool, but this one's black. I took that, okay, and then so it's like this. Okay, now aside from that, things would be kind of the same. So in the inside of the UAE version, hand tighten. Okay, don't overdo it, just hand tighten it, just like that. So the L80 would have, a normal L80 would have cork drags, and the drag plate will be aluminum. On a Z Japan, it has a aluminum drag plate, and instead of cork for the Z Japan, it is actually carbon. The Z Japan does not have this cover. It will have the normal cover. So only two reels have the cover, which is the Hokkaido No Limits and the UAE Limited. And both also have a stainless steel drag plate. Okay, so this part here is stainless steel. Now, since I'm using cork, I opted to use aluminum. All right, but stainless steel is actually a bit heavier for what do you call this? So my reel is actually kind of lighter. Now it's a Frankenstein. Now you can see here, very simple mechanism, weight savings. Now for this side, just this side, okay, the weight is it's gonna be very difficult. And mind you, this is quite a big reel. Okay, so it's 412 grams. Okay, just with that, just that. Okay, now for the spool, this particular spool, it is 181. You could do the math. You could have the total, but we'll actually weigh it after we reassemble everything. Now, when you're dealing with this, okay, now pay attention to this part right here, okay, because it always does that, so make sure not to lose that. That's A. And B, just before it doesn't matter which model, okay, you have to push it in. Be very careful of that. Push it in before you actually put everything back. All right, so we put the reel back together. Again, take note that the cam is not as easy as you think it is when you install it. Not as straightforward as you want it to be. So be very careful. It has to be placed specifically in position, and you have to put the lever in position, twist the cam into position, and put everything back together. It's I kind of hate it because I have two left hands. Okay, this is heavier than the normal L80 because of all the upgraded parts. So the parts are kind of heavier, but you are looking at about 700 grams. The normal L80 is 620. Again, the normal L80 is 620. Okay, now if you look at the stats for like L100, the L100 is 655. Okay, keep that in mind, 655 grams for the L100. Okay, the difference between the L80 and the L100 is the width. As you can see there, the L100 is wider, so that kind of explains the extra weight. Okay, but this particular one is actually kind of heavy because this is upgraded. Okay, so we're not going to talk about that. Now the L80 is in the same class as the OSHA Jigger 2500 LD. So that particular reel is 690 grams. Okay, 690 grams, and the capacity is 670 PE3, 500 meters of PE4, and 400 meters of PE5. Whereas this one, it is 620 grams. Okay, the normal L80, its capacity is PE3 800 meters, PE4 600 meters, PE5 550 meters. Okay, now as far as drag capacity is concerned, you have a maximum drag of 14 kg for these, and the OSHA Jigger is actually stronger at 20 kg, so it has 6 kilos more drag. Okay, the drag on the L80 is, the normal L80 is cork, so it's a bit more forgiving because when the fish hits, it ramps up. So if this was the drag curve, right, and this is maximum for the OSHA jiggers or any reel that has actually a carbon drag. So this is 0, this is maximum. and the spike will go up like that. Okay, so it immediately goes up to the setting of your drag. Whereas with this one, it's actually a gradual incline. So it works up. Instead of the drag curve being steep up like this, it would be like that. So as far as drag is concerned, this is a bit more forgiving, and you will probably experience less knot failures and leader failures because it eases in. And this is what I like about it. And this is also the reason why this particular one, instead of the, I know this is a prototype, and I know that this is a Frankenstein reel, okay? But I actually was able to put the parts that I need for what I want, okay? So this reel is exactly what I want. It has that cover that dissipates heat, which I want. And then it has the cork drag, which is a bit more forgiving than the carbon, which this one has. And because I'm using cork instead of using the what's this, the stainless steel drag plate, I have the aluminum one here. So yeah, a bit lighter than it should be, and yeah, exactly what I need. This is my PE6 fast jigging reel. Okay, so as far as fast jigging bigger lines, this is what I use. And for the L50, I have a PE4, which I use for fast jigging. Now, it depends. I know that there are people asking and comparing OSHA Jigger and this. The OSHA Jigger 2500 kind of depends on what style of jigging you want. Now this is a bit more on the finesse side, even if it's also quite strong and robust, as you can see. This is a bit more, I would say, it has a finer touch than a OSHA Jigger. Both excellent reels. Now, if you're gonna ask me, okay, which one should you choose? Well, you know, it depends on what you want to do. If you want a reel that has a bit more capacity, a bit more refinement and all this, so this kind of is what you're going after. But if you want something that's strong, reliable, and well, standard, easy to use, then you go with the OSHA Jigger. There's really no question between Daiwa, Shimano. Those two are standard, you know. All the rest, this is above standard, and all the rest there are some that are below the standard, but the standard for jigging would always be Shimano and Daiwa. So there's no mistaking for those. But this just gives you a little bit of extra, you know. But that's it. Alrighty, so I hope you guys have picked something up on this video. I just wanted to show the kind of engineering this reel has, and like I said, there's beauty and simplicity, and what we have here is a very good example of beautiful engineering as far as reels are concerned. Alrighty, that's it for now. Thanks so much for watching. If you haven't yet, click on that subscribe button. If you want your friends or anyone else to actually learn, you know, sharing is caring. Go ahead and share this video and many other videos on the channel. If you want to help the channel move forward, click on the membership button. Alrighty, that's it for now. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Class dismissed.